If there's one thing my videos can teach you, it's that humans are unpredictable creatures. Assuming that everyone thinks rationally and would react the same way you would to any given situation is a huge mistake. As you're about to hear, such assumptions could even cost you your life. Today, we visit the home of the Happy Meal to explore a not-so-happy story, one that's bound to make you question your fellow humans and what they're capable of. Things will only get more bizarre as we go, so be sure to stick around until the end to hear about a potentially related incident that's equally as unsettling. Let's get to it. Zhaoyuan, a small Chinese city situated on the nation's eastern coast. It's well known for its gold deposits, its giant statue of Ao, the mythical sea turtle, and for one of the most infamous and brutal killings to have taken place on China's mainland in recent history, the McDonald's cult murder. May 28, 2014 was just an ordinary day for 37-year-old Wu Shuyan, a saleswoman who had just finished her shift at a small clothing store. With work over, she went to a McDonald's in a nearby mall to fill her empty stomach. Inside, she waited for her husband and 5-year-old son to meet her. Ordinary plans for an ordinary day. There's no way she could have anticipated what would happen next. While Shuyan waited inside the McDonald's, a group of 6 unusual people came in. They hadn't come to eat. They were members of Eastern Lightning, a banned cult with some extremely strange beliefs. The group was founded 30 years ago by a former physics teacher named Zhao Weishan, a man who claimed he had direct contact with God. According to him, God had already returned to Earth in the form of a Chinese woman named Yang Xiangbin and would soon begin the apocalypse. Over time, he built a sizable following and made more than a pretty penny in the process. When the group was outlawed in 1995, Wei Shan fled to America to escape any legal consequences. Even in his absence, Eastern Lightning continued to flourish, with many of its members continuing to spread the cult's message and pass its teachings onto their own children. Now, standing before Wu Shuyan in the McDonald's was one such family of dedicated believers. Zhang Lidong, his partner, Zhang Qiaolan, 3 of his children from a former marriage, one of whom who was only 12, and a young woman who lived with the family, named Lu Yingcheng. The father, Lidong, loudly made an announcement to all of the other customers inside the McDonald's. He stated that the group were Eastern Lightning missionaries, that they had come to save everybody's soul from certain doom, and demanded that everybody give them their mobile phone numbers and contact information immediately. One by one, the family of cultists approached each individual customer, and, no doubt feeling awkward and intimidated, each customer handed over their phone number. Then they got to Wu Shuyan. She had just come off her shift, and was in no mood to entertain a bunch of deranged bullies, nor was she about to give away her contact information willy-nilly. Zhang Fan, Lidong's 30-year-old daughter, handed Shuyan a pamphlet and asked for her number. Shuyan said no. Visibly angered, Fan asked again. Shuyan again said no. It's hard to say what exactly went through Fan's head when she heard no for the second time. Perhaps she felt like she was being humiliated in front of her family and fellow missionaries. Perhaps she felt angry that someone had finally stood up to her. Perhaps there was little running through her head other than psychobabble. Whatever it was, she wasn't going to ask for a third time. Without warning, she grabbed a nearby chair and hurled it at Shuyan. It slammed into her, knocking her to the floor. Fan began screaming that Shuyan was an evil spirit and begged her father, Lidong, to slay her. At hearing this, Lidong took a mop which he had brought along with him and began beating Shuyan with it. The rest of the group joined in with his attack with their own mops. After a barrage of strikes, they all began to stomp on Shuyan's head, screaming things like, "Go die, evil spirit." Even the youngest member began kicking her in the face as she lay motionless, shouting, "Evil goes to hell." One of the group yelled at the other customers to stay back, saying, "Whoever interferes will die." Though nobody physically tried to stop the group, many of them did pull out their phones and recorded the entire incident. The footage exists online, but it's both harrowing to watch and listen to, and I recommend you don't seek it out for yourselves for the sake of not losing your faith in humanity. After the brutal attack, all 6 of the Eastern Lightning members calmly left the restaurant, leaving Zhaoyuan lying on the floor in a puddle of blood. She had been stomped to death simply for not wanting to give out her phone number. The authorities quickly arrived and rounded up all 6 of the perps that very night. Like I said, the whole slaying was caught on camera. The media got a hold of the footage, and it quickly went viral. The case was now the hot topic throughout China. People rightly couldn't believe that a woman, a stranger to the people responsible, had been slaughtered for something so small and insignificant. As the case got more and more attention, so too did Zhang Ledong and his family of cultists. Broadcasters held interviews with him, in which he clearly stated that he felt no remorse for taking Zhaoyuan's life. When asked why he did it, Ledong simply said that Zhaoyuan was an evil spirit. In his own words, "I beat her with all my might and stamped on her too. She was a demon. We had to destroy her." Lu Yingchen, the young woman who lived with the family, agreed completely with Ledong, and at trial said, quote-unquote, "I found out we were attacked and sucked by an evil spirit, which caused us to be weak and helpless. We identified Zhaoyuan as that evil spirit and cursed her with words. Not only did she not listen, her attack got even stronger. During the demon's attack on us, we gradually became aware that the woman must die, otherwise it would devour everybody. The clash between the woman and us was a battle between 2 spirits. The others couldn't see it, and neither could they understand it. The police couldn't understand it as well. In other words, Wu Zhaoyuan died for nothing. Her murder was completely senseless, and only happened because she was brave enough to say no." It also came out at the trial that the group's views differed from the official dogma of Eastern Lightning. Eastern Lightning's central belief was that God had returned in the form of a single woman, Yang Xiangbin. Ledong's family instead believed that God had returned as a single soul inhabiting 2 female bodies, the bodies of Lu Yingchen and Zhang Fan. Zhang Fan even said at the trial, "I am God in his substance. Lu Yingchen is also God in his substance. The relationship between Lu Yingchen and me is that we are 2 bodies in the flesh, but we share the same soul." In their view, they were the true followers of Eastern Lightning, and all of its other followers were nothing more than crazy cult worshippers. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. In the end, all of the group were found to be guilty for the slaying of Wu Zhaoyuan. Zhang Ledong and his daughter, Zhang Fan, were sentenced to death. They were executed on February 2nd, 2015. Lu Yingchen, the woman who lived with the family and believed that she was one half of God, was given a life sentence. Zhang Hang, who was only 18 at the time, was given a 10-year sentence. Zhang Xiaolian, who was 24, was given 7 years. The youngest perpetrator, 12-year-old Zhang Zhuo, was too young to stand trial. Now, this would usually be the natural endpoint for a video like this, but this is a cult we're dealing with here, with a plethora of followers and break-off groups. And recently, in May of this year in fact, another incident occurred which may be linked to Eastern Lightning. This one even more bizarre, but equally shocking. Just 2 months ago, a woman dressed entirely in red was seen dancing on the wrong side of her balcony, high up on the 25th floor of her apartment building in Sanya, China's southernmost resort island. Scared holidaymakers and neighbours recorded her unsettling movements as the red woman fearlessly danced on the edge of the balcony, twisting her hips, swaying back and forth, and sometimes gripping the railing with only one hand. Passers-by shouted up to her and telling her to get back inside, but she just shouted back, "It's okay, I'm filming a video." Her neighbours were concerned, obviously. They'd seen the woman out on the balcony numerous times over the past few days, always dressed in red. On May the 6th, the apartment building's security guard knocked on her door to check what was wrong. Turns out, she wasn't alone. A man holding a camera answered the door and explained that he and the woman were making short clips to post online. The red lady confirmed this and appeared completely at ease. She told the guard that everything was fine, that she was renting the apartment, and if she wanted to dance on the thin edge outside the balcony, that was her business. After the guard left, she clambered back over the balcony and resumed her strange dance. Minutes later, the woman was filmed falling from the balcony. A blood-curdling scream could be heard as she plummeted 25 stories to her death. Video of the woman's dancing and fall circulated around the internet and gained a lot of attention. The lady in red was identified as 41-year-old Shi Momo. It's unclear whether she accidentally or intentionally let go of the railing, but after investigators searched her apartment, they found a crumpled-up note. The note itself had been typed up and supposedly signed by Momo herself at the bottom. In the note, Momo requested that her organs be donated and her ashes scattered at sea. This note caught the attention of many netizens, who pointed out a few discrepancies. Firstly, the note had been typed up and only signed at the bottom. Anyone could have written it. Secondly, if the woman had intentionally jumped and wanted to donate her organs, why would she have jumped from 25 stories above ground level? Thirdly, the wording of the note itself was considered very odd. Many of the terms used are associated with a ritual in Chinese folklore, a ritual one performs to wish for eternal life. What's more, the color red in China has numerous symbolic meanings. The woman was wearing a red dress, red shoes, and a red hat. According to Chinese urban legend, those who die wearing red clothes will return to life as a vicious, demonic spirit. But lazy, where does Eastern Lightning come into all of this? Well, here's the thing. Rumors started spreading online that Momo had connections to the group, though obviously, with Eastern Lightning being a banned religion, that was impossible to confirm. Nobody online wanted to use their real names or faces, nor divulge who her connections were or how they knew that information. At the same sort of time, users on Zhihu, basically China's Quora, started posting how the woman's death was eerily similar to a self-sacrifice ritual used by members of Eastern Lightning. According to those users, certain fanatical followers of Eastern Lightning would dress up entirely in red, go to the top of a high structure, dance for 5 days, and then leap from the top, sacrificing their soul for Eastern Lightning. These posts garnered a lot of attention, with countless users anonymously confirming that this was true, and was happening all over the country, especially in the poorer, more rural areas, where people were less educated and more susceptible to cult manipulation. Still, it's important to note that these are just rumors, since because of China's censorship laws, not to mention harsh punishments for members of banned groups and their associates, nobody has been willing to come forward and provide concrete proof. That would not only be invoking the wrath of the government, but also Eastern Lightning themselves. Two groups you don't want to mess with. It's tricky to figure out just how many people shared their knowledge online about this whole incident, since most of the online posts have since been removed. The government forbids even the discussion of Eastern Lightning and its practices, and internet censors took a lot of them down. That being said, at the time this story was fresh, there were enough people confirming the validity of those claims that many netizens came to one grisly conclusion: that Momo's death was an Eastern Lightning sacrifice. Whether this particular lamb went willingly to the slaughter or was coerced into it is another question. Considering there was an unknown man in the apartment filming her, many believe the latter. That man's identity is yet to be discovered, and his footage yet to be found. And so ends our dive into these two very different Chinese cases that may have a lot more in common than one might initially think. One outcome was unpredictable. There's no way Zhaoyuan could have foreseen what would happen, simply by saying no to a family of irrational psychos. The other seemed inevitable. I mean, what do you expect to happen when you're dancing on the wrong side of a balcony railing? But both of them were filmed. Both of their videos went viral in China, and both of them just might have the same dark organization at the heart of them. Though no official stats exist, today the Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada estimates that Eastern Lightning may have as many as 2 million followers. That number grows a little more every year. Hey guys, Lazy here, and thank you very much for listening. A huge thank you to Robin Mickelson for making the amazing thumbnail for this video. Links to his stuff in the bio down below. Also, a massive shout out to all of my supporters here on YouTube and over on Patreon, especially my biggest supporters. Lydia Glassley, Tony Hardy, Yoshi6500, Patrik Hrušecký, Dappa, Boise McSnatchy, Matthew J. Bauer, Amanda Hanson, Hamish Kay, Phantom Knight, Mrs. Yvonne Rankin, Ms. Crypto, The Only Dorita, Taylor and Monica Gruenke, Sloane Crawford, Sarah Ramirez, Ronnie Franklin, Procupidine Netta, Philip Westra, Peter Loggerage, Nadine, Native Beauty, Monica Mendoza, Mira Lancaster, Lord 210, Leonardo Martinez, Infamous Sempapi, Gina Valera, Fox Licity, Expand Dong, Crawford K. MacDonald, Connor Lothan, Charlie Lackey, Azrael Warakai, and Alex Greensall. Thank you guys so much for your continued support, it really helps the channel out. Just a reminder that if you haven't already, now's a great time to come and join us on Discord. We currently have an emoji competition going, and we're getting a lot of great entries, so come and join the fun by following the link down below. Remember to smash that like button or I'll smash you, and you'll be hearing from me again very, very soon. Until then, you all stay spooky. And remember, the best things happen in the dark.